I didn't get a 1099. Do I have to report my income? Do I have to report my sales? I didn't get one, so I'm just not going to.
Everything changes.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into the Rockstarflipper YouTube channel. I am Casey, the Rockstarflipper. This is Orlando, Florida, my temporary home for probably another month to a month and a half. But it is 85 degrees today, so I can't complain. And I want to talk to you guys today about some myths, some truths, some different things that you need to know about tax season, being a self-employed, whatever you are, whether it's an e-commerce seller, online seller, self-employed YouTuber, whatever the fact may be with your business, some facts, some truths, and some myths about 1099s, taxes, deductions, expenses, paying taxes, and just a big disclaimer, I am not a licensed CPA or a licensed financial consultant or advisor, whatever you want to call it. I don't have a degree in that field, but 99.99% of my answers come from either personal experience, business experience, or directly from my CPA friend, Mark II, better known as Not Your Dad's CPA's mouth, his own mouth. He is a licensed CPA. He does appear on this channel. He does give advice, and this is advice I'm just reiterating from him if it is something that I'm quoting from him or from videos that we've done. I will link Mark's information and his website below if you're interested in having Mark's help. Again, he is probably the most popular, biggest e-commerce specializing online licensed CPA that I know of. There may be others, but he is the guy that we all turn to. We love Mark, we trust Mark, and he's got the good answers for us. So I'll link him below. He's got a Reseller Tax Academy that will help you a million times over. It's awesome, and I have a discount code I'll put down there below if you decide to take Mark up on his services, that you can get a discount, 50 bucks off for using my code. And Mark's amazing. He'll help you get your numbers in order. He doesn't actually do the process of filing your taxes, but he will help you get all of your numbers and everything straight so that you are just ready to go and file them. Okay, so let's move past that and let's talk about some of the myths, facts, truths, and things you need to know for selling and for reporting taxes and 1099s and all that good stuff, whether it's eBay, Poshmark, Amazon, Etsy, it doesn't matter. This is pretty much a blanket coverage. Some of the platforms are a little different than other platforms, and we're going to mention some of those things in just a second. So let's get started. Okay, so let's jump into number one, and probably one of the biggest things that we see in every group is, I didn't get a 1099. Do I have to report my income? Do I have to report my sales? I didn't get one, so I'm just not going to. That's completely false, guys. So again, I'm not a licensed CPA, but let me tell you how 1099s work. 1099s, when you're self-employed or make any income online outside of a normal job and a W-2, separate of that, is basically just a summary of how much you did in gross sales, gross total sales. It includes every dime that came in, not come in, came in. If you sold an item for $100 plus $20 shipping, your 1099 is not going to show $100. It's going to show $120. You charged the customer $120. They paid you $120, and then you bought a label. Obviously on Poshmark, that's different because Poshmark takes care of the shipping. You never see the $20. You're simply paid $100, but Poshmark took $20 in a fee. So you did get $80 put into your account and you deposit $80 over to your bank, but your total sales were $100. The amount of income you should be reporting is $100, and then an expense of $20 to a Poshmark fee. So a 1099 is just going to give you that total. If you hit $20,000 and 200 transactions, that's kind of a standard industry-wide threshold that the IRS has established. $20,000 and 200 transactions, it must be both, not or, you will receive a 1099 from eBay, PayPal, Amazon, Etsy, wherever it is that you sell. Now, I have also seen in groups that Poshmark does not send out a 1099. I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to put myself out on the edge. I have received a 1099 from Poshmark. I believe it's because I did affiliate things for them. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'll try to post a picture, but they offer affiliate things way back in the day, like us YouTubers could make a video for Posh and get paid like 250 bucks or 500 bucks. So all of that went into income on top of what I was selling. So I did receive 1099s. Several people have. A lot of people have said they did not receive 1099s. I do believe that Poshmark did not send 1099s, especially not back in the day. But as we all know, Poshmark updated its sales tax policies after many years of not doing it. And even after the law passed, it took them a year, I believe, to get up to date on that. Maybe they were given some kind of grace period or timetable from the states or the tax agencies. I don't know. But if you are selling over $20,000 and 200 transactional in Poshmark, they absolutely, by law, should be sending you a 1099. If they are not, I would complain to Poshmark. In fact, I encourage all sellers who do more than that don't get a 1099 from their platform, to reach out to them and ask why you're not receiving a 1099. Some people have said, well, it's because Poshmark isn't processing your payments. Like eBay and PayPal process your payments and then pay. Poshmark is absolutely processing your payments or using a payment processor, because otherwise you would be receiving the payment from the customer and getting their credit card information and all of that. And that's simply not true. That's ridiculous. Poshmark is processing payments. If you're reaching the federal threshold, they should be sending you a 1099. If they're not, maybe there's some law I don't know, but every other platform does. Why the heck is Poshmark special? I don't know. That would be them making an agreement with the IRS and the federal government. I don't think so. I think they're not doing it. I think they're being lazy. And I think it's going to catch up to them and that they should be doing it. And at some point, they're going to have to announce that they're doing it. Well, Poshmark's just for people selling clothes out of their closet. Yeah, that's true. But Poshmark's also got sellers selling more than $20,000 as a serious business. So that's just my input on that. Rake me over the coals. Manish from Poshmark CEO, feel free to reach out to me and explain to me why you guys are not issuing all of the 1099s that you should be issuing to people doing over $20,000. Okay, so that is the myth. If you don't receive one and you did $18,000, $15,000 in sales, you have to report the income. Now, let me make a very clear statement here. Reporting income and owing taxes are two very different things. Just because you report your sales does not mean that you will necessarily owe any money. Most likely you will, but it doesn't mean that all the time. So let me give you a great example. Let's say that you did $15,000 in gross sales. The amount of money you owe the IRS is not based on the gross sales. It's based on the profit less expenses. So if you sold $15,000 on Poshmark and you bought that material for $5,000, you spent $5,000 to buy it up all year, your profit was $10,000, right? That's pretty simple math. Well, you also paid Poshmark 20% of the 15 grand, which is $3,000. So you actually only made $7,000 in clear profit after paying your cost of goods and your Poshmark fees. So your taxes based on that would only be on 7 grand. Let's say you're in a 20% tax bracket, totally fictitious numbers, just giving an example. You would owe the IRS $1,400. But you also had expenses. Say you bought tissue paper and envelopes and ink and toner and printers and all this stuff during the year that was able to get you an itemized deduction of a few $1,000s, right? You may not owe anything because you only owed $1,400. If the IRS gave you credit for $1,500 in deductions, you owe nothing. Now, obviously, that's based on not having any other income or W-2s or any of that type of thing. But it is feasible that you may not owe the IRS from legal, legitimate deductions. So do not be scared of reporting your numbers. Reporting numbers is not the same as owing taxes. Now, you may owe taxes. For example, somebody like me, selling hundreds of thousands of dollars, profiting 6 figures, that is going to result in the IRS going, well, you're in a 30% tax bracket, you made 200 grand, you owe us $60,000, right? Oof, so I've got some expenses, I've got this, I've got that, and the IRS is like, sweet, you spent all this money on cost of goods and warehouse and equipment and supplies, and we're giving you $15,000 in a tax break. You owe us 45 grand, and that's what happened last year. If you've seen my video over paying the IRS $49,000 in taxes over 2 years. I paid $18,000 in 1 year, and I paid $31,000 in another year. And so that's just based on, making that kind of money. And that's just the way it is. No matter what kind of deductions and expenses you have, it's tough to get it that low. And so you have to pay your taxes. That's the way it works. A lot of people may know the story that Amazon does billions of dollars and they didn't owe any taxes. And well, that's because they respent all of their money. So let's say Amazon does $5 billion in profit. and the IRS goes, okay, you guys owe us 30%, that's 1.5 billion in taxes, and Amazon comes up and goes, well, that's great. We spent $10 billion on new buildings and planes and investments and employees and all this, and the IRS goes, oh, sweet. Well, your $1.5 billion tax bill is now zero. So it's not that the Amazon company doesn't pay taxes, it's that they reinvest so much that they're allowed to take the tax breaks off. These are legal, legitimate loopholes. Some of you may agree with them, and some of you may not agree with them. I agree with some of them, I don't agree with all of them. But that's just the way it works, and that's the laws of this land. And so they're gonna use the laws of this land to their benefit. Of course, every company does, I promise you, including myself. There are tax deductions that I take that I look at and I'm like, man, they really let us take that? And I take it because it's legitimate. Nothing immoral, illegal about it. It's just the laws that were created. If you don't like the laws, vote for people that will change those laws. If you do like the laws, great, vote for the same people. Okay, now that we're past that and how your profits affect what you will owe the IRS, let's move on to some more myths. There are exceptions to the $20,200. Some of you get 1099s based on minimum thresholds of say $400 or $600. There's some states and some financial situations that have those exceptions where you don't have to report your income unless you've made those minimum numbers. Perfectly fine. Otherwise, you should report every dollar of income, and then you can write off the cost of goods or the losses or the expenses and not owe anything. Some people ask questions, what if I just sold some of my stuff at a garage sale or my kid sold some books? So again, there are some exceptions to this rule, selling personal stuff. If you sold a couple of items, you still should, but probably not something that's gonna get you in trouble. But if you are selling stuff every weekend at a garage sale or selling off, a couple $1,000s of your stuff on eBay, just emptying your house, you're gonna wanna report that income. And then if it's personal goods and you have receipts or ways to prove what you paid and you took a loss, you can get all of that down to zero. You're telling the IRS, hey, look, I sold $3,000 worth of stuff. I had a few yard sales. I sold a couple grand. It was all my personal stuff. It was nothing that I really bought to resell. And here are receipts, or here's where I took a loss, or here's I've had it for 10 years. Nothing was profitable. I made no profit and I owe no taxes. Here's the expenses. It doesn't mean just ignore it and don't say anything. It means give it to them, explain it off, and you're good. Like, that's the way that works with personal stuff. Same way, like, let's say I sell $50,000 this year of stuff I resold, and I end up selling off a bunch of my personal stuff for $5,000. I'm gonna go ahead and report $55,000, not just 50. And then the $5,000, I'm going to explain away to the IRS, like, hey, this 50 grand was legit, it's business income. We'll go ahead and take care of that and pay the taxes, do what we got to do for that. But the other 5,000 was my personal stuff. I upgraded all of my equipment, and I upgraded my TVs, and I bought all the stuff, and so I sold it all on eBay and got rid of it. Perfect. I emptied my storage unit. I sold off all my storage unit. Whatever it is. That is perfectly fine for personal goods and things taking at a loss. You can explain that to the IRS. Anything you bought to resell, to flip, no matter how old it is, if it was inventory, if you bought it for resale purposes, should absolutely be reported as income for resale. So, does everyone follow me to this point? Does everyone understand kind of how this works? Let's recap. All income should be reported. Just like we just talked about, you can explain away personal goods. Even if you don't get a 1099, you still need to report the income. The 1099 is just a summary of sales, and the 1099 is just the platform's way of letting the IRS know that you did that amount of money. But in the event of an audit, if you didn't get a 1099, you did say 15 grand and you didn't report it, the IRS is gonna find out about it because you were transferring that money into bank accounts. Remember, when the IRS audits you, they have the right to freeze bank accounts, to subpoena bank records, to look at all of this stuff. They'll get the transaction history from the platform. You do not want to mess with the IRS. Pay your taxes, guys. It helps take care of this country, even though some of the money is used frivolously. Yes, I know, side note, politics. Anyways. Okay, so that's where we covered all of that. Now, let's move on to another subject that comes up in a lot of the Facebook groups and a lot of the social media platforms all of the time that drives me insane. People say, let's go with some of the easier ones actually. People say, I sell on multiple platforms. Does it all go on one tax report? Yes. So when you report taxes as self-employed with 1099s, it's going, or without 1099s, it's going to say, tell us about your first source of income. eBay did 10 grand. Do you have another source of income? Yeah. Etsy did 10 grand. Do you have another one? Yes. Poshmark did 15 grand. Boom. Then it's going to total all those up and go, great, it looks like you did $60,000 this year. Perfect. Then it's going to say, what was your cost of goods sold? And you're going to say the total, not what it was for eBay, what it was for Posh. They'll just ask a total of all the cost of goods sold. And that means the price that you paid for everything that actually went out the door. And you'll put that in and you'll say, yeah, I did 60 grand. I spent 10 grand to do it. Okay. And they're going to pop up and say, you did 50,000 in profit. Perfect. Then they're going to give you these list of expenses. And this is where I get my mind blown that people don't realize that all of these are expenses. When you buy a shipping label outside of Poshmark, because they take care of it, when you buy a shipping label, that is an expense on you. And people are like, well, the buyer paid for shipping. They did. They paid you and you bought the label. Your income shows X and the label now is an expense. So you have to keep records of all of this. And welcome to the topic that drives me insane, people that don't track their numbers and people that have no idea what I'm talking about. You need a list of every label that you've bought, a list of every PayPal fee or report or a CSV or an Excel file. You need a list of every piece of equipment. If you bought a new computer, a new iPad, a new tablet, a new phone, a new printer, a new light kit or scale, you need a record and a receipt for every single one of these so that you can claim them. Because as you claim all this stuff, the amount of money you owe towards that profit to the IRS comes down and down and down. And it's all legitimate business investment. It's allowed. You're allowed to do it, guys. You need these receipts. So please put together a Google spreadsheet. If you need an Excel spreadsheet that you can download, I'll link it below. It's free. Get it, guys. Put your email in. It'll email to you and you can use the spreadsheet for free. I will also link my video below showing how I use that spreadsheet. So you can download it, follow the video, get yourself going. If you'd like to step up or you have a serious business or you want to do better than a Google spreadsheet, my friends Paul and Faith from My Reseller Genie absolutely have an amazing program that is based on Microsoft Excel and it is going web-based probably by the end of this month. It is fantastic. I'll link their video and their product below. It is amazing. It tracks sales, profits, expenses, deductions, inventory. It tracks everything for you. Please give them a chance. Check it out below. Speaking of, I have it on good authority that today is one half of the owner of My Reseller Genie, Faith's birthday. So happy birthday, big happy birthday to Faith at My Reseller Genie. They're amazing, their product's amazing, and again, I'll put them in the links in the description below for everything that I mentioned in this video. So the moral of the story, please track your numbers so that you can deduct all of these expenses. It drives me insane. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business, and if you don't know your business, you don't belong in business. Damon Johns. That comes straight from Damon Johns on Shark Tank. All right, so we covered the 1099 situation, who needs to report income, the taxes, and we covered that you need to track your numbers. And I've also mentioned, my CPA, Mark II, not your dad's CPA. He's the guy I go to when I need questions answered. If you don't trust Mark or you don't know Mark or you don't want to use Mark and you want to use somebody local to you, make sure they have some e-commerce experience. But as somebody who's not a financial advisor, my best advice to you is always talk to a CPA, but please make sure you have a CPA that knows what they are doing. The advice I'm giving you right now is based on my experience and based on Mark's words. So that's pretty much the myths, the truths, and the facts of taxes and 1099s. They seem really scary. They're not. Just because you report numbers doesn't mean that you owe money. I've helped somebody with a CPA do taxes that did $30,000 in sales and made $15,000 in profit and owed the IRS like $150 after legitimate legal deductions. So based on those numbers, it's not everyone, but you can see that you could do a fairly good amount of sales and barely owe any money because there are so many deductions and expenses in our business. Hopefully this helps you guys. Please, if you do nothing else today, besides liking this video and subscribing to my channel, share this video with everyone that you know, post it in the Facebook groups, post it on Instagram, save this video link, copy the link to this video and paste it into your notepad. And anytime you see somebody in a group or anywhere that allows links that asking about taxes and the truths and the myths, please link them this video. It might get them to My Reseller Genie, it might get them to Mark II, it might get them to me, it might show them like, don't believe everything you see in the Facebook groups. There's 100 reasons why this video will be very, very helpful to them. And hopefully you guys can spread it around. Link it in your stories on Instagram. If you do and you tag me, I will be happy to shout you out so you get some followers and get some attention. Grow your social media. If you put it in Facebook, I'll do the same. Just make sure you tag me so that people can find me, and I can get the notification and I can shout you back out. So enjoy your day, guys. Hopefully this has helped everyone. I just see it all the time, and it is tax season. But don't be scared of taxes. They're not that intimidating once you know what you're doing. And as the old saying goes, the more you know, knowledge is power. All right, guys, thank you so much as always. Enjoy your awesome rest of the week. Thumbs up, turn that big thumb blue. Helps the algorithm, helps me, and helps more people find this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.